Now leaders want fame, leaders want popularity instead of focusing their energy to serve the people. It's now becoming a situation in the country. That is what we are going around as far as the Standard is concerned on page 4. But allow me to quote this from President William Ruto. I find a lot of leaders spending so much time trying to be popular. When will you have time to work for the people if all the time your focus and energy is on how to continue being popular? You know, popularity and service to Kenyans cannot go hand in hand, but leaders feel like you want to be popular so that people can know you, and therefore in the next coming elections they might probably choose you as their next leader. On page that is page 5, raid on bread. Kenyans pain at increasing taxes. You know, bread was one of the commodities that were never taxed, and of course was very accommodating to Kenyans. But now introducing new taxes, taxation proposals for the 2024 budget sparks outrage, with Kenyans saying Treasury's bid to raise more taxes will only serve to push essential items out of reach. You know, bread is one of the commodities that a common mwananchi is able to get to first hand and of course cheaply. But now when new taxes are introduced, of course, to bread and other commodities, it is now becoming difficult for Kenyans, of course, to just get to eat, which will be now a crisis to a common man, probably those that are don't have enough income or a good income as per se. On the Daily Nations, on the Standards, Athi River residents battle sickness, respiratory and other ailment are plaguing residents of estates in Athi River area of Machakos County, which has a huge population of the people working in Nairobi, owing to air pollution that has been blamed on manufacturing companies. You remember the story that we covered before on the effect of floods in the country that is now a crisis. And as a matter of fact, it is now becoming a situation because of the severe diseases that will be brought by the plagues that are brought by the floods. And of course, it says that respiratory and other ailments are plaguing residents in Machakos and so as to many other areas that are being affected by the floods in the country. Now that is in page 10 of the Standard. And exit doctors, nurses now demand 3 billion shillings. Exit doctors, nurses now demand 3 billion shillings. That is in page 6 of the Standard. 6 bank CEOs earn 787 million shillings. On the business, page 19. Coin touches Trump. That is on page 22 on the world page on the Standard. Semenya's legal battle on the last lap. Sport page on page 30. Now that is so much to dwell on as far as the newspaper, the Standard, is concerned. And the Daily Nation, of course, counties face cash crisis as MP clash. So counties are staring at a major cash crunch should Parliament fail to agree soon on the amount of money to be allocated to the devolved units. This follows the deadlock between the National Assembly and the Senate over the division of the Revenue Bill 2024, with the impasse now headed for mediation after MPs rejected a proposal to increase funding. Page 7 on the Daily Nation. And so much to dwell on as far as the newspaper is concerned, together with the Business Daily, stating blacklisted loan accounts jumped 97% on costly credit. As far as that is concerned, price stabilization lowers cost of petrol. And of course, it's a relief to motor users and other operators in the country, saying at least ikiendelea kushuka hivyo, it will be better and better. Now, remember yesterday, of course, there was a conversation with the Council of Governors and Union of Council of Clinical Officers, saying that they never met and they never agreed to what they were demanding, of course, in the 2021 CBA agreement that they had never agreed with the government. That and so much more will give you updates also on the news that are taking headlines this morning in the next few minutes. All right. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority (EPRA) has reduced the fuel prices by one shilling in the May review. EPRA has reduced the price of super petrol by 1 shilling per litre, diesel by 20 per litre. The new fuel prices to be effective from midnight. Here's the story. All right, now let's get back to that story. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority (EPRA) has reduced the fuel prices by 1 shilling in the May review. EPRA has reduced the price of super petrol by 1 shilling per litre, diesel by 1.20 per litre, and kerosene by 1.3 per litre. The new fuel prices to be effective from midnight. We have that story.
As the EACC grapples with combating corruption, bribery and embezzlement of funds across the country, take the cake as leading areas in corruption cases at 31%. At the release of the corruption report for the year 2022-2023, led by the Archbishop David Oginde, fraudulent accusation of public property also featured largely as one of the corruption cases.
The need for us to look at our legislative framework so that it can enhance our fight against corruption and the enhancing of ethics and integrity in all sectors of government. And this is something that we continue to work on and engage the various stakeholders so that we can make sure that the framework that we have, the legal framework that we have, actually facilitates the fight against corruption rather than hindering it.
Forgery of certificates within the public service has also been termed as a huge burden in the country, with the EACC Secretary Twalib Mubarak saying that the Commission aims to curb the menace, further denying accusations that the EACC is used to settle political scores.
Lazima kuwe na namna ya kuwa kama unaandikwa kazi, kama vile shirika la ushuru. Ukitaka kujua huyu mfanyabiashara hii tax compliance certificate yake iko sawa, unaenda kwa kompyuta, unapiga, unaona inatoka pale pale. Hiyo ndio dawa ya kumaliza ukora wa makaratasi ya uongo, dawa ile halisi. Hii sasa ni penkila tu kutumia DCI, kutumia EACC. Dawa yenyewe ni kutengeneza mikakati sawa na serikali ya kuweza kujua hapo kwa hapo kuwa hii karatasi ni ya uongo ama ni ya kweli.
EACC Chair David Oginde added that EACC will sanitize corrupt companies in the country as well as corrupt government organization, warning that anyone found involved in corruption will face the law.
We are proposing that either a percentage of that which has been recovered or an amount that would help us to meet our actual expenditure budget would be released to us from the monies that are recovered.
With 214 cases pending before the courts, EACC is advocating for significant amendment of Kenya's anti-graft legislation. It proposes to directly utilize financial resources and assets recovered from corrupt practices to meet its expenditure budget.
During the release of the financial report of 2023-2024, EACC has decried of low funds, hence calling on to the government to increase the allocation of funds in order for them to conduct their mandate easily. Kadenyi, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Thank you, Kadenyi, for that particular story. Bribery and embezzlement of funds have been ranked as the top leading vices in the country. In a report released by the EACC on corruption in the country, fraudulent acquisition of land follows closely at 19%, as the rise of fake certificates in public offices said to be an emerging danger. Look at that story.
In the exercise of the judicial functions entrusted to me, I will at all times and to the best of my knowledge and ability
Speaking during the swearing-in, President Ruto urged the newly appointed judges to uphold integrity and professionalism and reject any form of corruption in their service to the people, reminding the judges to remain devoted to their mandates and solemn oath of office, urging them to diligently serve the people of Kenya without fear, favor, bias, or any political influence.
Your devotion to these mandates and undertakings and your commitment to diligently serve the people of Kenya and to do justice to them without fear, favor, bias, affection, ill will, prejudice, or any political, religious, or other influence, as I heard each and every one of you say.
Ruto further highlighted the government's commitment to enhancing the capacity of judiciary, particularly through infrastructure development projects, and announced an increase in funding for the justice and law and order sector with a focus on combating corruption and promoting accountability.
We have increased our budgetary allocation to sectors combating corruption and promoting justice and accountability since 2022-2023.
Samson Omwanza Ombati was today sworn in as the new LSK male representative to the Judicial Service Commission. Presiding over the swearing-in, Chief Justice Martha Koome lauded him for his new responsibility and urged him to uphold the rule of law. Omwanza replaces Macharia Njeru and is set to serve for a 5-year term.
I, Samson Omwanza Ombati, having been elected under Article 171(2)(f) of the Constitution of Kenya as a member of the Judicial Service Commission, do swear that I will at all times obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic, that I will faithfully and fully, impartially, and to the best of my knowledge and ability discharge the trust, perform the functions, and exercise the powers devolving upon me by virtue of this election without fear, favor, bias, affection, ill will, or prejudice. So help me God.
Justice and reality to the people of Kenya. Today, you will be joining the other commissioners of the JSC in our collective pursuit of the imperatives of securing the independence.
All right, after that, the Council of Governors has commenced talks with the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers to iron out outstanding issues and end an ongoing strike. In the meeting held today between COG and the union, the two parties laid down issued up for discussion, with the KUKO insisting on honoring the 2021 collective bargaining agreement that settled on a risk allowance of 15,000 shillings. Let's get that story.
In Roiro Sub-County hospitals we speak now, there is a BSc clinic officer who is employed there and is earning 18,000 per month. There is another one in the same county earning 35,000. There is another one under UHC earning 50,000. There is another one in full pay.
The Council of Governors has kick-started talks with the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers with a view to iron out outstanding issues as captured in their strike notice, with a view to ending their ongoing strike.
Collective bargaining agreement is not on the table because it does not exist. Recognition agreement is there. We recognize you, and that's why we are seated here. And we hope that now we can be able to set the parameters or which path do we have to walk through. Of course, we are cognizant of the fact that health is devolved. However, we still have remnants of issues that are operated or they are implemented from the national government.
Negotiations today at the end by today. So this is a process that will be a give and take, where we give, where you take, where you give, we take, But at the end of it all, let us be guided by what Wazungu said, the end justifies the means.
A representative meeting between the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers and the Council of Governors to lay down issues up for discussion with the health service providers who insisted on honoring of the 2021 Collective Bargain Agreement CBA that agitated for a risk allowance of 15,000 shillings for the clinicians.
Governor Mudhomi, the CBA is on the table because we have been negotiating. We have negotiated 80%. What is remaining is about 80%. It's not actually something that can even take us more than 2 weeks if we are to sit and negotiate and with goodwill. And also reiterate that ourselves as the union, we have a lot of goodwill.
Their plays hitting hard rock as COG holds the view that matters money can only be discussed with the national government through the Ministry of Health.
We are two different governments that have the same responsibility. And therefore, in our discussion today, just to assist my chair for labor, let us isolate the issues that have to do with the county government, the COG. Don't take us to the route where we have to handle issues that the CS Health and the ministry should be handling.
The clinicians' leaders thereafter proceeded to lead demonstrations, vowing not to relent until their grievances are heard and determined by the respective stakeholders. Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Thank you so much, Stanley Lugaria. Interior CS Kithure Kindiki now says that the recent arrival of modern security equipment in Kenya signifies significant progress towards realizing the goal of a safer nation. Speaking during the reception of 10 more armored personnel carriers in Mombasa, Kindiki said the equipment will ensure Kenyans are protected from any harm from criminal elements. The procurement is part of the government's police equipment modernization program, which has been allocated a budget of 37 billion shillings for 5 years.
CS Kindiki emphasized that achieving lasting peace, security and stability demands swift and unwavering action against all threats to the national security. This approach is crucial for fostering rapid economic growth fueled by both the domestic and foreign investments.
Tumepokea vifaa hivi mnavyoona hapa ambayo ni magari yaliyolindwa specially, ambayo ni magari ambayo hayawezi kupigwa na risasi ama hata mabomu ambayo yametumiwa kulipua magari ya maafisa wetu katika sehemu zingine ambazo maafisa wetu wanafanya kazi ya kulinda wananchi wa Kenya na mali yao na kulinda taifa letu.
He highlighted that the latest procurement, which will increase the total number of modern armored personnel carriers received to 20, is aimed at enhancing the protection of frontline officers, adding that the acquisition is part of the government's 5-year police equipment modernization program, which will come for 37 billion Kenyan shillings.
Hii ni sehemu ya pili ya jambo hilo, na sio tu magari ya kutembea na kujistiri wakati wako katika hiyo kazi. Vile vile tumepokea silaha za kutosha, silaha za kisasa, zikiwemo zana za kukabiliana na adui, zikiwemo zana za kutumia wakati.
Kindiki also mentioned that Kenya is currently working on enhancing and revitalizing its air assets equipment, expressing satisfaction by stating that the efforts to support frontline officers are nearing completion if not already achieving perfection.
Tumeanza sasa kupokea zana za kusaidia katika kukabiliana na magaidi angani, ikiwemo magari ya angani yasiyoendeshwa na watu wowote, magari ambayo yanajipeleka yenyewe na mwenye kujaendesha hayuko karibu, na hayo magari vile vile yako na mabomu.
John Matava, Lookuptv.
Matava, thank you so much for that report. Lawmakers from the coastal region have called for a total ban of Miran Mogoka, setting the stage for a clash with their Meru counterparts. The 6 legislators from Mombasa County claimed that the 2 stimulant cash crops are drugs and therefore ruin the lives of Kenyans. Addressing the media at Parliament buildings on Tuesday, the MPs said there was need to amend the law to categorize the 2 cash crops as drugs.
Kwa hakika ukiangalia sababu kubwa ambayo bidhaa fulani huongezwa bei, kama vile pombe serikali huwa inaongeza bei, kama vile sigara serikali huwa inaongeza bei, ni kwa sababu hizi bidhaa huwa zina athari ya kiafya kwa mwananchi, na ndio sababu zinaongezwa bei ili wale watumiaji waweze kutumia chache, na pia isiweze kuwezesha watoto wadogo kuweza kutumia. Kwa mfano kama katika mwambao wa Pwani na hasa Mombasa County, zao la mugoka unaharibu mpaka watoto wa shule, kwa sababu leo wauzaji wa mugoka wanatengeza paka paketi ndogo za shilingi 20, paketi ya shilingi 50, paketi ya shilingi 100.
Currently there is a bill which was brought by the Deputy Speaker, the Senator for Meru, Honorable Murungi, where he wants to declassify cathinone and caffeine as a narcotic. In effect, that bill, if it is passes, it will remove caffeine and cathinone from a list of drugs that are supposed to be in the Narcotics and Psychotropic Drugs Act. So what we are saying is that it is a chemical, and it contains a chemical which is harmful to the human body. Number two, the emphasis on mugoka is that mugoka is very cheap. 50 shillings, you are home and dry. Okay? Yet, even 20 shillings now, you can get it. You know, miraa is a bit expensive, so it is out of reach of the many youths who are coming up. But mugoka is very cheap and very accessible to the people. And it is also very dangerous because those green leaves are always sprayed. Every morning they are sprayed so that they can be able to be harvested later in the evening, and they look fresh. So these sprays, what do they contain? Are the chemicals that are in those sprays harmful to or safe for human consumption? Then there is the effect of loss of sleep and all manner of shortcomings that are associated with this.
I don't know your take on drugs and cash crops, but remember you can share with us your feedback on Facebook and YouTube. Use the hashtag The Morning Drift. Now remember, there is a story, of course, on junior secondary school, of course, facing a challenge again, as learning for junior secondary school in Isiolo was paralyzed as JSS teachers camped outside TSC director's office demanding employment on permanent and pensionable terms. They also called on TSC to obey the court order threatening to paralyze learning across the country, or the county rather, until their concerns are fully addressed. Let's get that story.
A day after schools officially reopened following a 1-week suspension due to floods in the country, it is business unusual for junior secondary school teachers in Isiolo who are up in arms insisting that they will continue the demonstrations until the government fully addresses their demands.
Walimu wa JSS wanatumiwa vibaya. Tuliingia internship tukaambiwa ni ya mwaka moja, ikaongezewa, na bando hao walimu ambao inaongezewa wanapata 17,000, ambayo hata kununua chakula yenyewe ni shinda.
Teachers here camped outside the office of the TSC director, insisting that the commission should comply with the court order. They have given TSC 2 days to comply with the court order, failure to which they will file a contempt of court case against the commission.
Sisi tunataka wa employ the intern teachers permanent and pensionable. This is easy request. Ini kitu ile iko pale and they must obey the court order. Failure to that, sisi tutakusanya hapa tena, tukuja hapa to apply contempt of the court. Ndio Nancy Macharia aende ashikwe adharani mchana. And the contempt of the court ni milioni 10.
Arrests among GSS teachers were also witnessed in Embu yesterday, where teachers organized demonstrations demanding the Teacher Service Commission to comply with a court order which mentioned TSC's proposal to comply teachers on short-term contracts contrary to the law. Kagonya Gloria, Lookuptv.
Mwalimu huyu anasema kwamba contempt of court is 10 million shillings. Wow. All right, on to other stories. SNV organization from Netherlands has launched a slum dam initiative that can be deployed in areas prone to flooding in Rumuruti, Laikipia County. James Mwangi, an official from SNV, noted that the initiative will harness the flood water, enabling the communities to plant and practice irrigation during the dry season. Slum dam is a project invented in Netherlands that uses synthetic tubes filled with water and used as flowing water barriers.
Rumuruti area in Laikipia County may see an end to the detrimental impacts of flooding with the introduction of the slum dam project by environmental specialists from the Republic of Netherlands. The expert urged both national and county government to support the initiative as it has the potential to mitigate flood damage by harnessing excess water.
Katika hii mradi tumekuwa tukifanya na Laikipia County ili tuweze kusaidia county waweze kuwa na teknolojia yenye wanaweza tumia kuzuia floods. Na hii ni mambo yenye tulianzia last year wakati tulikuwa tumetabiliwa kwamba El Nino inakuja. Tuliweza kuidentify Rumuruti, kufuatilia mawaidha ya kutoka Water Resource Authority na katika partnership na Netherlands Embassy tuliweza kukuwa na mafunzo.
This approach not only addresses flood-related issues but also enhances food security by providing communities with sustainable water for agricultural activities during dry season.
Slum dam imekuwa iko na manufaa mbili zaidi yenye watu wametambua sana. Wanaitambua sana kuzuia floods na pia wanaitambua sana kutumika katika kutumia maji ya ukulima. Unaweka maji pale ndani, kukikauka unatumia hiyo maji kama ni kulima, kama ni kupea mifugo yako.
Laikipia County Governor Joseph Irungu has praised the introduction of the new technology, highlighting its potential in mitigating flood challenges and addressing food security concerns.
This is a new technology that has not been there in the country, and it is intended to prevent the floods that particularly are brought about during the El Nino and even during the heavy rains. And more than that is I see it in Laikipia County that it's also going to be used, particularly in the pastoral community, where we can be able to, when we are doing the water tracking, during the time it is dry and we want to do water tracking, rather than all the times we are carrying the big tanks where the communities are, because of that kind of nomadism, that movement of the pastoral community. This is something that you can be packaged and it is dropped to where the communities are, and you are able to track water and put the water here, which can be used by the community and their livestock.
The success of the project has extended beyond Kenya, with the implementation in Burundi and Nigeria, resulting in noticeable improvement in food production. This demonstrates its potential for replication in various regions. George Kayesi, Lookuptv.
Thank you, George Kayesi. And as Jasmine reports, a total number of 20 coaches have today completed their 10-day CAFD coaching course program held at Maisa, Komarok. The program was organized by the Football Kenya Federation in conjunction with the Confederation of African Football to promote football in the country. Here's Jasmine's report.
Hapa nimepata knowledge. At first nilikuwa tu na ile knowledge yangu, nilikuwa najua nikicheza. But kucheza na kucoach nimekuja kuona ni two different things. Kudeal na youths ni kitu nimekuwa na passion nayo, na pia nimekuwa nikiona maybe saa nyingine unapata teams, unapata watu wanasainiwa wakiwa teams, but unapata technically hawako vizuri. So I think tukianza hiyo foundation, ikianza mapema, by the time mtu anafika 17-18 years atakuwa in a better knowledge of understand passing, more of understanding a game.
Mi nilichagua kufanya hii course kwa sababu nimekuwa nikicoach for like two years, but nilikuwa na coach tu out of experience ile ya mimi nilikuwa mchezaji, so na coach tu vile vitu nilipata nikiwa nacheza. So kitu ilinifanya niweze kwenda kwa hii coaching course nilikuwa nataka nijue sasa structures za coaching na knowledge ya coaching niweze kupata, so that hata sasa ile na coach from a point of knowledge, si a point of experience, sababu si kila mtu akona experience ya kucheza anaweza coach.
Alright, Iku Spiders FC are the winners of Tujiamini Cheza Dimba Tournament Eastern Region. Iku beat Lazizia 5-4 through penalty shootouts after a 0-0 draw or a 0-0 draw. Iku Spiders walked away with a 3-year sponsorship inclusive of free football kits and 250,000 shillings.
So the grassroots is where talent is found, or it's unearthed, if you can say, yeah? And then that's where you start polishing the gem that turns into the fantastic diamond that is the talent that could go up to the Premier League, to the Harambee Stars and the rest. And we have to focus on these grassroots tournaments because, as we've seen today, a team like Iku FC at the bottom barrel of the FKF tournaments have beaten teams that are in the regional league, you know? So it shows that the competition that's there in football in Kenya is untapped and unmanaged, and we need to get them to the levels that they have shown us that they can get to here today.
Hiyo talent tumeikuza kwa shinda sana, lakini nilikuwa najua kwa sababu watu wetu wanajiamini na wachezaji wetu wanajiamini, kuna ile passion na ile talent ndani yao, nilikuwa najua tutaweza kushinda hii tournament. We were sure. Tumecheza tournament nyingi lakini hatujaipata pesa kama hiyo tutapata leo na hizo kits.
Imekuwa ngumu kwa sababu kawaida zote ya finali zinakuanga ngumu, lakini nilikuwa na matumaini, nilikuwa ninajua Alizizia lazima ningewabwaga, hata tungefika mapenati lazima ningewabwaga.
All right, after that particular story, remember yesterday at 10 p.m. we had a match on Manchester City versus Tottenham, and of course that was a story that everyone was anticipating for. Remember, this was a particular story that we were having yesterday. Of course, Man City and Tottenham that played yesterday at 10 p.m. Remember, Andre Postecoglou said and stated this, that the foundation are really fragile. I don't know what were the foundations. Is it the ground or the players or the pitch at large? But that was Andre Postecoglou, that is the coach at Tottenham. Just making a statement after losing the match with Man City. Erling Haaland scored 2 goals, and of course the scores twice to settle what had been a nervy affair between the two teams. Now climbing back to the top of the table with 1 game remaining in the season. Of course, Man City now is at the top of English Premier League table with Arsenal of course at position number 4, as we expect more games today as Chelsea versus Brighton plays, and Manchester United versus Newcastle at 10 p.m. We'll get to that and more, of course, in our subsequent bulletin at 1 p.m, 4 p.m, 7 p.m, and the latest of the hour, 9 p.m. We're expecting so much to come as far as sports is concerned. Manchester United versus Newcastle and Chelsea versus Brighton. To that particular point, I don't have so much to say, of course, to expect so much as far as corruption and state of the nation is concerned, due to what is alarming and rising in the country. We have the 20 judges that are sworn in by the president, and we expect their input to be seen in the next few days to come of their service in the government. Of course, matters floods, the government is strategizing to make sure that everything is taken into consideration, and later on we expect also the junior secondary school teachers to have collaboration and a talk, of course, to get back to school as the second term is just days ahead. Also, we're expecting so much to come in as far as taxes is concerned, and the financial bill 2024 is concerned. The financial year 2024 and 2025 will get that report in our subsequent bulletins. Without much ado, thank you so much for the Morning Drift team, and thank you so much for Director Mumanyi for that particular input. My name is Moses Okech. We do this same time, same place, tomorrow, 16th of May 2024. Goodbye for now.
There is a biblical quotation that says, whoever gives to an orphan lends to God. Today was a great day for us. We have received and hosted a wonderful and great team from Tatu. who have come to make a day brighter for these kids and for our beneficiaries.
I thank you